Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I am here with this important topic, that is requirements for mushroom cultivation, and it comes under our skill and enhancement course, that is mushroom cultivation technology. In this lecture I will try to discuss about infrastructure requirements for mushroom cultivation, then what are the various equipments which are required, and requirements for composting and cropping units for mushroom, substrates for mushroom production, and what are the various nutrient sources for mushroom cultivation. So these are the topics that I will try to cover under this presentation. Let's start. Firstly, what is mushroom cultivation? So it is a technology by which we produce the fruiting bodies which are consumed by the humans. So this is a technique or method to develop the fruit bodies of edible fungi. This is known as mushroom cultivation. So what are the various requirements? Firstly, we have to produce spawns. Spawns are basically the seeds of mushroom, and these contain the fungal mycelium in a suitable substrate, और इन्हें यूज़ किया जाता है मल्टीप्लिकेशन ऑफ मशरूम के लिए, जैसे कि हम सीड्स यूज़ करते हैं प्लांट्स के केस में. सो दीज आर बेसिकली स्पॉन्स जो कि एक स्पेशल कल्चरिंग टेक्निक से हम सेपरेट करते हैं, दैट वी विल डिस्कस इन अपकमिंग स्लाइड्स. Next comes preparation of compost. So compost is the, we can say, nutrient medium जिसमें हम spawn को sow करते हैं और जिससे mushroom जो bodies हैं, fruiting bodies हैं, वो इसमें grow करती हैं. So this is a dead decaying organic matter, और यहाँ से जो fungal mycelium है nutrition obtain करते हैं and grow into the fruiting body. Next comes filling of trays with compost. जो ये compost है इससे trays को fill किया जाता है. Then next comes spawning. इसमें फिर ये जो spawns हैं इनको सो किया जाता है, inoculation of compost. Then finally come casing. जो casing है इसमें हम proper जो manure है उसको spawn के ऊपर डालते हैं. Why casing is required? Because casing helped to convert vegetative growth into mushroom. जो casing है इसकी वजह से ही जो mushroom की vegetative growth है वो fruiting body में convert होती है. अगर केसिंग नहीं करते हैं सो देन देर इज़ नो फॉर्मेशन ऑफ मशरूम, तो मशरूम नहीं बनते हैं. अगर बनते भी हैं तो दीज आर वेरी लेस इन नंबर. और जो केसिंग है दैट आल्सो हेल्प्स टू मेंटेन प्रॉपर मॉइस्चर कंटेंट. तो ये सारी जो कंडीशंस हैं दे आर रिक्वायर्ड, दैट कम्स अंडर केसिंग. देन फाइनली वी कैन हार्वेस्ट दीज फ्रूटिंग बॉडीज. इनको हम हार्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं और इनको एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं, देन दे आर रेडी टू बी कंज्यूम्ड. एंड देन नेक्स्ट, जो भी एग्रीकल्चरल वेस्ट है जो हमारे घरों से निकलता है दैट कैन बी रिसाइकल टू प्रोड्यूस एडिशनल फूड इन द फॉर्म मशरूम. तो उसे हम रिसाइकल करके मशरूम की कंपोस्टिंग में हेल्प कर सकते हैं और मशरूम को उसमें ग्रो कर सकते हैं. सो हाउ वी कैन प्रिपेयर दिस? बेसिकली जो भी हमारा वेस्ट मटेरियल है, लाइक वी हैव दिस लीव्स, लिटर और घर से निकलने वाला जो भी वेस्ट है और ग्रीन ग्रास है, दैट कैन बी कन्वर्टेड इनटू कंपोस्ट with the help of certain microorganisms, and that compost can be utilized. Next comes the infrastructure requirements for mushroom cultivation. Firstly comes culture and spawn production laboratories. So we require infrastructure to produce mushrooms. इसमें जो पहली condition है that is culture and spawn production laboratories. We require laboratory facilities for preparation of culture. Culture medium is basically a nutrient medium जिसमें कि जो कि सेमी सॉलिड और सॉलिड भी हो सकता है, जिसमें हम जो स्पॉन है, जो सीड्स है मशरूम के, उसे ग्रो करते हैं obtaining बाय प्योर कल्चर टेक्निक. सो स्पॉन इज बेसिकली अ सीड्स ऑफ मशरूम. जो सीड है मशरूम का विच कंसिस्ट ऑफ माइसीलियम एंटेंगल्ड इन सबस्ट्रेट लाइक सीरियल ग्रेन्स. तो इसमें सबस्ट्रेट भी यूज़ होता है और इसको हम मल्टीप्लाई करने के लिए यूज़ करते हैं. फर्स्टली वी रिक्वायर लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग. So we require land and building for this. Minimum 4 or 5 rooms building is required with clean floors and walls. इसमें से जो एक रूम है of the building that will be used as Inoculation Chamber, जहाँ पे हम spawn को multiply करते हैं, that is called Inoculation Chamber. Then in second room it is required for preparation of media. Media is basically a culture media, that is a nutrient medium, जिसमें हम जो फंगल स्पोर्स हैं या फिर फंगल वेजिटेटिव टिश्यू है उससे स्पॉन प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, उसमें ग्रो करते हैं. सो फॉर दैट पर्पस वी रिक्वायर दिस प्रिपरेशन. or media room. Third room acts as office cum media room. Then in fourth room we will kept and store the raw materials. In fifth room which act as a cold room for storing spawn bags ready for distribution, जिसमें जो spawns है वो ready हैं, वहाँ पे हम cold temperature में उनको store करते हैं और इन्हें हम sell कर सकते हैं. So this is the fifth room which is required for storing the spawn. Then incubation chamber, जो incubation chamber है हमारा, it should be airtight and fitted with light and UV light. तो इसमें airtight होना चाहिए और साथ में light के source होना चाहिए, like UV light का source. The maintenance of aseptic condition in inoculation chamber is must. So एक बहुत important जो condition है, that is the aseptic condition which is required in the inoculation chamber, so that our quality of spawn is not deteriorated और जो spawn production है वो harm ना हो. Then air conditioning machine can be fitted to maintain the desired temperature. और इसके अलावा हम जो temperature maintain करना है उसके लिए air condition machine को use करते हैं to maintain the desired temperature, or basically to provide the controlled temperature conditions for production of mushroom. After culture and spawn producing laboratory, we require mushroom production units. Under this unit, firstly we have to prepare the compost. So for that we require the compost well, a big cemented, well covered composting yard is constructed for the preparation of compost and other substrate. Then in addition to this we require a cemented well insulated small chamber which is used for sterilization of kissing mixture. जो kissing mixture है उसकी sterilization के लिए एक और chamber हमें चाहिए होता है. Then we require one clean and fly-proof mushroom production unit with more than 6 insulated cropping rooms fitted with steel racks is essential for production of mushroom. So in addition to this we require these sort of special steel racks containing cropping rooms जो कि mushroom cultivation के लिए बहुत essential है. Then we require 2 types of special cropping rooms for growing mushroom. One is for the seasonal grown crop and other for the mushrooms which are grown throughout the year under controlled environment conditions. So 2 तरह के room चाहिए होते हैं हमें इसके लिए. एक जो mushrooms हम seasonally grow करते हैं, and second जिन mushrooms को हम throughout the year grow करते हैं under controlled environment conditions. Under mushroom production unit, second one is seasonal cropping room. These are basically the low cost growing houses that can be thatched house और temporary rooms. Thatched house होता है जब हम roofing के लिए vegetations को use करते हैं, और shed of steel pipes or cemented rooms. The mushrooms are grown on the beds of bamboo sticks or circunda stem. तो bamboo sticks को हम use करते हैं beds के ऊपर, या फिर circunda stem को use करते हैं for mushroom cultivation. The simple cemented cropping rooms are with cemented floor. Cemented floors होते हैं, cemented walls हैं, cemented ceiling है, and have arrangements for forced air circulation inside. और उसमें इस तरह की arrangement की जाती है ताकि जो air है वो forcefully circulate की जाए. These rooms are made up of simple brick walls with asbestos sheets, sheet roof having a false ceiling. And these rooms have no insulation and is airtight. तो इसमें कोई insulation नहीं होती है और ये airtight भी होते हैं और इसमें हम controlled way में air को circulate कर सकते हैं. Then the third one is the environment controlled cropping room under mushroom production unit. So rooms are insulated in which environment is controlled either manually or semi-automatically with mechanical control system. So we have some semi-automatic or automatic कंट्रोल सिस्टम जिससे हम रूम्स के अंदर जो कंडीशंस हैं उन्हें कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं. द नंबर ऑफ ग्रोइंग रूम्स इन द यूनिट डिपेंड्स ऑन क्रॉपिंग साइकिल्स टू बी टेकन. तो जो नंबर है ग्रोइंग रूम का वो डिपेंड करता है कितनी क्रॉपिंग साइकिल्स हमें चाहिए. डिजाइंड इन अ वे सो दैट इट कैन बी अकोमोडेट मैक्सिमम कंपोस्ट. इस तरह से डिज़ाइन किए जाते हैं ताकि इसमें मैक्सिमम जो कंपोस्ट है वो आ सके इन द लीस्ट पॉसिबल एरिया. एंड द रूम शुड हैव ब्रिक वॉल्स एंड आरसीसी सीलिंग. The room should be made airtight and air handling unit. इसमें AHU air handling unit installed होना चाहिए for each cropping room for cooling, heating and forced air circulation in the growing room. So these are the machines which are known as air handling units, जिन्हें install करना ज़रूरी है किसी भी cropping room में for cooling, heating or forced air circulation in that growing room. So these all comes under mushroom production unit. Next comes the second requirement, that is equipments which are required for mushroom cultivation. So firstly, under this heading comes laboratory requirements for culture and spawn production. So what are the various requirements? Firstly, we want autoclaving machine. Autoclave is a technique of using moist heat in the special apparatus called autoclave, which is similar to that of pressure cooker. इसमें हम high temperature की steam को use करते हैं to kill the microbes or make the apparatus or culture media microbe free or aseptic. Autoclaving is often done at 121 degrees Celsius for and 15 lbs pressure for 15 to 20 minutes. So these are the some specific requirements for autoclaving. इसमें जो temperature है वो 121 डिग्री और pressure 15 lbs और 15 to 20 minutes की duration के लिए हम इसमें रखते हैं. The culture medium for pure culture is sterilized by autoclaving. It is of two types. One is small autoclaves जिन्हें standing type हम कहते हैं, जैसा हम यहाँ पे देख पा रहे हैं. Second are the big autoclaves जिन्हें कहते हैं horizontal type. So ये है यहाँ पे simple pressure cooker type. Then we have this vertical autoclave जो हम mostly use करते हैं. This is large horizontal autoclave. Then we have large automatic hospital autoclaves also, which are used for sterilization of equipments. Next instrument is boiler, as the name indicate. ये यूज़ होता है to produce the precious steam, जिसे sterilization के लिए यूज़ किया जाता है. So it is essential for the production of precious steam for boiling, sterilization of grains and pasteurization of compost and of casing mixture. जो casing mixture यूज़ करते हैं हम मशरूम कल्टिवेशन के लिए, तो उसे हम यूज़ करते हैं. और इसके लिए जो फ्यूल यूज़ किया जाता है that may be wooden fuel or we can use electricity or diesel for producing this heat. So these baby boilers are normally run either by using wood fuel, electricity or diesel. So ये हम इसमें fuel use कर सकते हैं या फिर electricity को use कर सकते हैं to produce this precious steam. The next important instrument is laminar air flow. It basically consists of confined bench, HEPA filter, which is high efficiency particulate air, and a fan. So it passes the air which is free from fungi, bacteria, spores, droplets and dust particles. That's why it's known as high efficiency particulate air, and consists of cabinets, UV lit acrylic or glass chamber with 0.5 meter per second air speed in the working area. And this is very important instrument to provide aseptic conditions for spawn culturing. Next comes inoculation chamber. So these cabinets are generally used for inoculation and can be made from locally available material. Its front panel is made up of glass. जो इसका front panel है वो glass से बना होता है. That can be opened to fill the cabinet with sterilized media. The inside is disinfected by using certain solutions, like we have 2% formalin solution and 70% ethyl alcohol. So ये जो solutions हैं ये surface को sterilize करने के लिए use किए जाते हैं. Next comes culture racks. These are basically needed to keeping the inoculated bags at a particular temperature for mycelial run and storing them at different temperatures in the incubation and storage rooms. So ये जो racks हैं इनके ऊपर रखा जाता है inoculated bags को at a particular temperature. These are made up of steel or iron, commonly used for this purpose. These are also required for keeping the compost bags at particular temperatures during the spawn run and cropping stages. Then it consists of 5 to 7 rows of shelves that can be provided one above the other, that we can see in this photograph, in the racks, keeping a minimum distance of 60 centimeter in between. तो 60 centimeter के distance में जो ये पैकेट्स हैं इनको रखा जाता है. Next comes glassware, which can include beakers, conical flasks, test tubes, glass bottles. These glasswares are used for preparation, growing and storing of culture media. तो इस चीज़ के लिए ये ग्लासवेयर यूज़ किए जाते हैं एंड दे आर स्टरलाइज्ड इन ऑटोक्लेविंग और थ्रू द यूज़ ऑफ ड्राई एयर, दोनों से हम यूज़ कर सकते हैं इसको स्टरलाइज करने के लिए. In case of dry air method, dry heat in the hot air oven at 150 degrees Celsius for 3 to 4 hours, and finally in the laminar air flow under ultraviolet radiation are used to make these glasswares free from microbes or germs and to provide fully aseptic conditions. Next comes gas burner stove heaters. So these all are used for boiling of wheat grain and preparation of medium. इसके लिए ये use किए जाते हैं. The next sieves. These pipes-like structure are used to drain off the water from boiled cereal grains or boiled substances like straw or sawdust used for mushroom cultivation. तो जो remaining water है उस water को drain off करने के लिए ये sieves use किए जाते हैं. Next comes spirit lamps. So these lamps are used to sterilize some instruments in laboratory. And ethyl alcohol or spirit is used as a fuel in these lamps. तो ये जो लैम्प्स हैं ये यूज़ किए जाते हैं हीट करने के लिए और कुछ सॉल्यूशंस और इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स को स्टरलाइज करने के लिए. एंड वी यूज़ ethyl alcohol or spirit as fuel. Next comes inoculation needles, hooks or loops. So ये जो needles हैं these are mainly used to transfer inoculum to a liquid medium or streaking on a culture plate. तो जो टिश्यू है उसे ट्रांसफ़र करने के लिए लिक्विड मीडियम में इन नीडल्स को यूज़ किया जाता है. नेक्स्ट पॉलीथीन बैग्स. सो दीज बैग्स आर यूज्ड एज स्पॉन बैग्स फॉर स्टरलाइजिंग ग्रेन एंड प्रोपिगेटिंग मशरूम कल्चर्स. तो इन बैग्स को यूज़ किया जाता है स्पॉन बैग्स की तरह स्टरलाइजिंग ग्रेन जिसे सबस्ट्रेट की तरह यूज़ करते हैं एंड प्रोपिगेटिंग मशरूम कल्चर्स दैट वी कैन सी इन दीज शेल्फ्स. दीज आर मेड अप ऑफ पॉलीथीन और पॉलीप्रोपाइलिन प्लास्टिक. पॉलीथीन और पॉलीप्रोपाइलिन प्लास्टिक से बना होता है विच इज़ थर्मोप्लास्टिक डिज़ाइन टू विथस्टैंड हाई टेम्परेचर. तो ये प्लास्टिक इस तरह से डिज़ाइन किया था ताकि ये हाई टेम्परेचर को विथस्टैंड कर सके. द प्लास्टिक शुड बी लो कॉस्ट, ड्यूरेबल, फ्लेक्सिबल एंड ट्रांसपेरेंट so as to monitor the growth of relatively that we can monitor the growth which is relatively easy. Then breathable polypropylene bags with different filter types are widely used for spawn production. जो breathable polypropylene bags हैं उन्हें यूज़ किया जाता है spawn production के लिए. Next comes weighing balance. This is an instrument which is used to weigh the raw materials used for preparing spawn and compost. तो इसे यूज़ किया जाता है. This is weighing machine. Then wire mesh tray. So these trays are used for removing excess water from boiled cereal grains or boiled substrates like straw, sawdust used for mushroom production. तो इस ट्रे को यूज़ किया था जिससे जो एक्सेस वाटर है उसे रिमूव किया जा सके. नेक्स्ट वेसल्स, पैन्स, कुकर्स एक्सेट्रा दीज आर यूज फॉर प्रिपरेशन ऑफ मीडियम. जो मीडियम है उसकी प्रिपरेशन के लिए इन्हें यूज़ किया जाता है एंड बॉइलिंग ऑफ द ग्रेन्स. तो इन पैन्स को यूज़ किया जाता है. स्टीम ऑपरेटेड स्टेनलेस स्टील बॉइलिंग वेसल्स आर ऑल्सो यूज फॉर बॉइलिंग ऑफ द ग्रेन्स विच आर बेसिकली यूज फॉर एज अ सबस्ट्रेट. तो मेनली इन पेन्स को यूज़ किया जाता है, पेन्स को. द नेक्स्ट कम्स टेस्ट ट्यूब स्टैंड एंड वुडन slants. So these test tube racks are used to hold multiple test tubes at the same time and for storage of the test tube. So these racks are used. Slant racks are used to hold the slants at the degree required. तो कुछ slants means ऐसे racks use किया जाता है जिस slant में particular degree में हमें उस test tube को रखना है, उसके लिए हम slanting racks को use करते हैं. Next comes BOD incubators. So these are used to incubate inoculated tubes or petri dishes or flasks or master culture bottles at a desired temperature which is suitable for the vegetative growth of mushroom mycelium. तो उस temperature पे हम इस मशीन के अंदर इसको फिक्स करते हैं which is known as BOD incubator जिसमें हम सभी conditions को control कर सकते हैं. that is temperature, pressure, light, water, humidity. So इन सब चीज़ों को हम इस instrument के अंदर control कर सकते हैं. Next is oven. So this is used for dry sterilization of glasswares, petri dishes, plates, pipettes, beakers and glass tubes etc. So this oven is used. इसमें हम high temperature में इन glasswares को sterilize करते हैं. Next comes refrigerators. So these are used to store fungal cultures at very low temperature. So low temperature पे fungal cultures को store करने के लिए we use the refrigerators. Next, requirements for composting and cropping unit. So we have different equipments which are required for composting and cropping units. First is blowers. So the different capacities blower are used in pasteurization room and cropping rooms for supply fresh air steam. So fresh air steam को provide करने के लिए हम different capacities के blowers use करते हैं to provide fresh air steam. Then next is air handling unit. So this device is essential for supply of filter fresh, hot or cool air inside the cropping as well as the pasteurization room. So ये जो device है, that is the air handling unit. It is used to provide fresh, hot or cool air inside the cropping as well as pasteurization room. Next comes pile formers or boards. So ये जो boards हैं, these are used for making compost pile. जो कंपोस्ट बनती है उसके पाइल्स को बनाने के लिए इसका यूज़ किया जाता है. सो एवरी टाइम एंड आल्सो फॉर प्रोवाइडिंग सपोर्ट टू द पाइल व्हाइल स्टैकिंग के समय पाइल को सपोर्ट प्रोवाइड करने के लिए भी इन्हें यूज़ किया जाता है. दीज आर मेड अप ऑफ 3 वुडन प्लैंक्स और स्टील बोर्ड्स ऑफ डिजायर्ड साइज. नेक्स्ट कम्स लॉन्ग हैंडल्ड पिचफॉक्स. सो ये जो टूल है दिस इज़ यूज फॉर फिलिंग, टर्निंग एंड हैंडलिंग ऑफ कंपोस्ट से रिलेटेड जो भी काम है वो इसकी हेल्प से किया जाता है. देन शॉवल्स एंड बेलचार्स. सो दीज आर यूज फॉर हैंडलिंग एंड फिलिंग ऑफ मटेरियल्स. शॉवल्स एंड बेलचार्स. नेक्स्ट कम्स होज विद नोजल. तो ये यूज़ किया जाता है फॉर वाटरिंग एंड क्विक वेटिंग ऑफ बेसिक रॉ मटेरियल यूज्ड इन मशरूम कल्टिवेशन इन बल्क लाइक स्ट्रॉ, चिकन मैन्योर एंड हॉर्स डंग. तो इन्हें वेटिंग के लिए इस डिवाइस को यूज़ किया जाता है. नेक्स्ट कम्स थर्मोमीटर्स. सो दीज आर यूज फॉर चेकिंग द टेम्परेचर ऑफ कंपोस्ट हेप. ऑन द प्लेटफॉर्म कंपोस्ट बैग्स इन द स्पॉन रनिंग क्रॉपिंग रूम, पास्चराइजेशन रूम. तो रूम में जो टेम्परेचर है उसे मेजर करने के लिए हम इस डिवाइस को यूज़ करते हैं. Thermometers are used. Next are hygrometers. These are used for measuring relative humidity in the cropping and spawning running room. Next, pH meter. This is used for measuring pH of the material like we have compost, casing material and media. So ये use किया जाता है to check the pH. This is the digital pH meter. Next comes substrates for the mushroom production. Substrates are the primary requirement for mushroom cultivation as well as for the spawn production. और जो substrate है, firstly we'll discuss about substrates for spawn production. So substrate can be any plant material which provide nourishment for the fungal mycelium. तो fungal mycelium को जो भी plant product nourishment provide करता है, mostly we use the grains. जो सीरियल ग्रेन्स हैं उन्हें यूज़ किया जाता है या फिर स्ट्रॉज यूज़ किया जाते हैं. सो दीज एक्ट एज सबस्ट्रेट फॉर द स्पॉन प्रोडक्शन. सो इट कैन बी एनी मटेरियल ऑन विच माइसीलियम कैन ग्रो एंड कॉलोनाइज. जिस भी मटेरियल के ऊपर माइसीलियम ग्रो कर सकता है या कॉलोनाइज कर सकता है दैट विल एक्ट एज अ सबस्ट्रेट. एंड स्पॉन वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड इज द वेजिटेटिव माइसीलियम or a filamentous growth of the mushroom grown on suitable substrates like we have grains, agricultural waste, sawdust or even on the cakes of earth and used for cultivation of respective mushroom. तो different mushroom के लिए different substrates use किए जाते हैं to get the maximum yield. So mostly we use the grains for this spawn production. So the nourishment is provided to the spawn mycelium by various plant products which include grains also. So grain spawn, जो grain spawn है that we can see in this photograph is the most widely used spawn throughout the world. तो ये सबसे ज़्यादा यूज़ किया जाने वाला spawn production method है दुनिया में. Substrates are prepared by using certain cereal grains such as we have wheat, sorghum, jowar, that is corn and maize, rice, pearl millet, bajra and oats. So इनके seeds हम use कर सकते हैं for the preparation of substrate like we have rice seeds and maize, we have brown rice, wild bird seed and wheat berries. So these all are used for the preparation of substrate for a particular mushroom spawn. We can use a number of other agricultural wastes such as we have chopped rice straw, like we have maize cobs, wheat straw, sawdust, water hyacinth leaves, cotton waste, etc. So these can also be used for the production of mushroom spawn. And this type of this substrate and type of mushroom and the environmental conditions and the availability of that type of waste in a particular area are the factors which determine the mushroom spawn production. So different mushrooms, like we have most commonly grown button mushroom, that is Agaricus biosporus, then pleurotus species commonly known as oyster mushroom, then we have Volvariella volvaceae, which is commonly known as paddy straw mushroom, that can be grown on any cereal grains. So इनके जो spawns हैं that can be grown on any cereal grains. Then we have some wood rotting mushrooms like Lentinula erodes and Auricularia. These require sawdust for the spawn production. तो इसके लिए हम जो wooden dust है, sawdust है, उसको use करते हैं for the spawn production. The spawn substrates are boiled and sterilized before use. Use करने से पहले जो spawn substrate है उसे हम boil करते हैं और sterilize करते हैं. After that, that is ready for the use. Next comes substrates for mushroom cultivation. So mostly we use the agricultural waste for the mushroom cultivation. The commonly used substrates for mushroom cultivation are agricultural waste. We have dung, straw, logs, grains, coffee granules, sugar bagasse, cotton waste, coconut coir, etc. So these are mostly used for the mushroom cultivation. All these materials are rich in lignocellulosic content, and this is the main factor which determine the production or yield of mushroom. कि किसी भी substrate में कितना content है lignocellulose का, that determine the production status. And this fungal mycelium or mushroom mycelium secretes numerous hydrolytic enzymes which can degrade the lignocellulosic residues and use them as nutrient for the growth and development. So जो भी enzymes secrete होते हैं इस mycelium से, they degrade or break down the lignocellulosic components, and they are made usable for the fungal mycelium. Firstly, the substrate for mushroom cultivation are the agriculture wastes. So it includes cereal straw, corn cobs, cotton stalk, various grasses, red stems, maize and sorghum residues, then vine pruning, sugarcane bagasse, coconut and banana residues, corn husks, wood sawdust, etc. We have a lot of waste which is produced in agricultural field and agricultural products. So this image shows some examples of agricultural waste. So all these types of waste are used for mushroom cultivation. Then we have wood residues which are produced either from the primary processing or from the secondary processing of the wood, which include bark, chips, sawdust, coarse residues, and planer shavings, and also these are also used as substrate for the cultivation of mushrooms. So ये जो wood processing के result से जो waste produce होता है, that is also used as substrate for mushroom cultivation. But there is one problem, जो ये waste होता है, it is poor in nitrogen, or basically we can say it contains poor content of proteins and carbohydrates. So these lignocellulosic agriculture based materials are low in protein content and do not have sufficient amount of nitrogen and other nutrients. So we have to supplement the mixture of nitrogen with other materials having nitrogen and carbohydrate source along with this agricultural waste. So these materials are used as supplement including animal manure, carbohydrate source, nitrogen fertilizer, and concentrate meals. So we have to add some external source of nitrogen. Next, animal manures as a substrate for mushroom cultivation. So we can use various animals manure, like we have horse manure, chicken manure, pig manure, then cattle and sheep manure. These are used for the substrate preparation for mushroom cultivation. तो जो भी animal manures हैं उन्हें use किया जाता है as a substrate for mushroom cultivation. These manures supply good amount of nitrogen and small quantity of carbohydrates to the substrate. Horse manure is good source of nitrogen, but its use is limited to few farms only because of the availability of good quality manure. तो जो horse manure है उसमें अच्छी quantity का nitrogen present होता है, but इसकी जो availability है वो बहुत कम होती है, so it is not that much frequently used. Then chicken manure is the best alternative for horse manure. The chicken manure है, it is the best alternative for horse manure. It contains a lot of minerals like we have nitrogen, fiber, ash, potassium, phosphorus, carbohydrate, fat. And chicken manure is usually used in short methods of composting, but some growers are also using it this way for long method. But एक drawback है इसको use करने की, because it contains some harmful nematodes and fungi like we have Sapidonium, Maheshwarianum, or Papillospora species and Verticillium species which resides in the chicken manure, so it is avoided in the long method of composting. तो इसमें कुछ parasites present होते हैं जो मशरूम की जो crop है उसे damage कर सकते हैं, so that's why we avoid this chicken manure. Next comes carbohydrate source. For this we use molasses like sugar molasses, then malt sprouts, potato waste, apple and wet brewers grains that can be used as a carbohydrate source because these supply readily available nutrients to the microorganisms. Then these materials are necessary for balancing the carbon and nitrogen ratio and also for the establishment of bacterial flora in the compost and accelerating the composting process. So इसलिए जो ये waste material हैं, they act as a good source of carbohydrate. Next, nitrogen fertilizers. So we can use different fertilizers to obtain maximum yield. Fertilizers like we have urea, calcium, ammonium nitrate, ammonium sulfate. These are used as nitrogen fertilizers, which helps in quick establishment of microflora and they helps in increasing the yield. Then we have concentrated meal, which include various animal feeds. Used are wheat or rice bran, dried brewer grain, soybean meal, cotton seed meal, castor meal, sunflower meal. So these are used for the mushroom production in higher amount. These materials provide both nitrogen and carbohydrate, and their nitrogen are needed for mushroom growth. Then we have materials like superphosphate, gypsum, calcium carbonate, which are also used. White button mushroom prefers wheat straw. जो white button mushroom है, that is commercially available in the market, so it prefers wheat straws as the base material. Then it is rich in cellulose, hemicellulose and lignin, which is utilized by agaricus biospores during its growth as a carbon source. Next we have oyster mushroom, that is Pleurotus species, that can degrade and grow on any kind of agricultural forest waste which contain lignin, cellulose and hemicellulose. Then these can use a variety of agro waste including straw of wheat, paddy, ragi, stalk of maize, ज्वार. So ये किसी भी तरह की straw और forest waste पे grow कर जाता है. Next we have paddy straw mushroom, that is Variella volvaceae, which uses paddy straw, but it also prefers cotton waste, which is favored because it contains higher content of cellulose and hemicellulose. This was all about for today's discussion about requirements for mushroom cultivation. Hope you will get some idea from this presentation. If you have any questions, queries and any suggestions, you can give it in comment section. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.